Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Joe with Collab Garage. We've in the mad dash to get everything ready for the first round of FD in Long Beach coming up in just a few weeks. We've had a ton of progress on the car. So I'm just going to walk you through some of the systems that we've added since our last video. So in the last video we showed you the removable front end. So you just have 4 of these quick pins that you'll be able to take off and the whole front end slides off. So we kind of showed that, but we've added now all the systems to the car. So the headlights are mounted, the intercooler, our partners at Raleigh for the intercooler, the oil cooler. We've added all the intercooler piping with all vibrant piping and the new pinless HD clamps. They actually work pretty well, so it's kind of spring-loaded to help close the fixture, and you don't have to worry about misplacing that little pin. Moving around to this side, we also had some challenges last year with the throttle control. So we added a smaller throttle body, and we've added a ton of ductwork to the car. So one of the goals to the car is to keep everything a lot cooler than it was last season. So the intercooler is in a V-mount configuration, and there's fans on the back side of the intercooler that is forcing air. It's going to suck the air up and through, and a portion of it will get directed through the oil cooler, and then a portion of the air will get directed up through the hood, and also a little bit of it will be kind of blowing over the engine to keep everything just a little bit cooler. As you know, when you're bouncing off the limber for 30 to 45 seconds, everything gets really hot and there's just no airspeed over the front of the car. So we've kind of engineered this so these fans from Raleigh will be able to suck the air up and through when he's going sideways. So we don't really have a lot of forward air to cool everything off. We've also redesigned the cooling system. There was a lot of lines and everything. It was just very complicated. So we've simplified it, like I said in our first video. The simpler the car is, the easier it is to work on and the less chance of something to break. But if it does break, it's easy to fix. So now, before when we had to change an engine, you had to spend a ton of time bleeding out the system. Now we have this primary swirl pot that'll kind of bubble all the air up from the front of the engine. And then there's a secondary swirl pot in the back that you'll be able to do all your coolant bleeding and fill when we have to do that to the car. On the turbocharger side, we have our future fab manifold. Like we said, we are getting away from the external wastegates and going internal just for simpler control. And we're going to use an electronic control strategy this season. Gives us a lot more flexibility, better throttle responses, all kinds of reasons why we need to be able to do that. And it also simplified the downpipe routing because it was very tight fit before. You could not pull the downpipe out from the top. You had to kind of leave it in there and sneak it around. Now it's a 2-piece design where I can pull the top side out and then leave the rest of the exhaust under the car. All right, and since I'm not in charge of the back of the car, I got my buddy Dustin Griggs from Annex Electric here. He's been on the team for the last couple seasons now, and he's going to explain to you. He's kind of in charge of what's happening in the back of the car. I'll let him tell you guys what they're doing and how they're changing it to make it better.
So effectively, the weight distribution wasn't considered, nor was the flow of the radiator previously. So what we've come to realize, while we didn't really have overheating issues, we were only using about 52% of the effective area of the radiator through the flow of the patterns that it had. So by making some modifications to the lower section of the back, and then by changing the mounting of the radiator, we're able to increase that efficiency to 142% of the usable area while maintaining the same structure that's in the rear due to timeline. More or less, every drift car I've seen so far has had the radiator in the same position with a big hole in the window. However, there's no negative pressure, so they just rely completely on fan pressure to pull air through them, which is fine. There's plenty of fans that can do that and it works just fine. But in our case, we're going to try to force air through it as well as use fans, all while never having the vehicle moving in a straight line and never really being able to make proper ducting that can go out because the car touches the walls and touches other cars, so the ducting would get destroyed pretty quickly.
there's two spacers right here. They're numbered on the outside, so they're offset from the hole.
So they're eccentrics.
No, eccentrics, you would just move them, right?
Yeah.
Those are just like placement washers. I don't know if that's what you
Hey guys, Joe with Collab Garage. As you can see, we finally made it out to California, but the car is somewhat taken apart. If things basically didn't go the way we had hoped they would go, and if you want to learn some more about that, go check out Brian's video on his channel. We'll put a link in the card up in the corner. But the team did great. We had basically some unforeseen things come up while we were out here in California. The car was ready to go when we left Georgia. Now, we didn't have any time to test, which was always risky coming out to a track like Long Beach, where there's no runoff, there's no opportunity for error. So, but we weren't going to give up. We weren't going to stop trying to get the car ready. We made a commitment to ourselves and to Ryan and to all the sponsors to get this car ready to go and make a ton of improvements. So, with that being said, the car is going to get the engine refresh. We had a small issue and we started to develop some noise in the motor. We weren't willing to risk it, especially at this track. So the engine's coming out as soon as we go back to Auto Talent, who's been gracious to host us over the past week while we're out here in California. Then we're going to send the car back on the transport to Atlanta, get everything pulled back together, and then get out there and test as much as we can before FD Atlanta, which is just 30 days from now. So we have a lot of work to do, and we'll take you guys along for the journey. So with that, we'll see you guys on the next video.